Shoppers crave personalized experiences from the brands they love, and a great mobile app from favorite brand does exactly that. And that is where you need ImShop. Fast launch with any e-commerce platform, utilize advanced loyalty programs, retain customers with community, improve conversion with content, assist your customers anytime. Best thing about ImShop, you can launch a fully functional mobile app with all the benefits in just 6 to 8 weeks due to ready integrations. Join many retail leaders who already use ImShop. imshop.ai, apps for e-commerce and retail. Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to the podcast. My name is Philip Lopkowski. I'm the host of the show, and today we want to talk about the mobile apps and how important they are for modern retail. And to do that, I have a fantastic guest for you today. His name is Shaun Laughlin, and he's digital and technology director for a brand that I will try to pronounce correctly. It's called LeMieux.
Correct.
Hey, hi, Shaun. Did I mess it up, or is it correct? LeMieux?
No, that was perfect.
Thank you. All because of you. Of course, before we started recording, I asked Shaun how to pronounce it correctly. I would 100% mispronounce it if it wasn't up to him. Anyways, thank you for finding time for us today and being on the show. Super excited because you've recently launched a mobile app for LeMieux, and I'm very excited to know more about what led you to this decision and what strategies behind this launch. Tell us more maybe about LeMieux business and what is the business about and what is your role in the business.
Sure. So LeMieux is the leading equestrian brand in the UK, very rapidly expanding, particularly internationally. We have a strong foothold in the US, Western Europe, particularly the Netherlands and the DACH region. But we have retailers all over the world now. So I think we have about 1,000 wholesale customers globally, multiple distributors in different markets. My role in the business is digital and technology, and that's overseeing our whole digital presence across commerce, marketing, data, and infrastructure, and then owning the whole tech stack from end to end. So that's everything from cyber to operations and everything in between. So it's a pretty broad role. It's effectively everything related to digital and technology.
Wow, that's really a big scope. But tell me maybe more about the mobile app. I mean, I'm a huge fan of mobile apps for retail. I think that this is one of the untapped opportunities for retails and for brands in general. At the same moment, why now? I mean, what strategy led your company to making this decision now?
It was more a question of the opportunity rather than the timing. We recently replatformed to Adobe Commerce, so Magento 2, as most people will know it if you're old enough. That was done in 2022, and we've been building upon that foundation, expanding our storefronts. And then the idea for an app became the logical next step for the reasons you started to intimate, like the response rates for push notifications are so much higher, retention rates once you can get on somebody's phone. But the hook for us was we didn't want to just launch a app-based version of our mobile site, because what's really the advantage to the user and what would make them engage with it? Like, what's the hook to really draw people into it? So we rolled it up with a rewards program and a community platform. So we took 3 very big, complex and scary projects and we wrapped them up into one giant, almighty, massive project and took 2 years to deliver.
Oh, it took you 2 years to learn from the idea to the final product for the launch, right?
Correct. I've been living and breathing it for 2 years. So the launch moment was particularly scary because it was the culmination of a lot of late nights and a lot of CapEx expenditure for the business as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. Nobody wants that kind of sunk cost, right?
No, exactly.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Interesting. But when you put together this the mobile app as a storefront, just another type of storefront, and I can really resonate with you saying that nobody wants just another storefront, basically a copy of your mobile website. But at the same moment, um, what do you think led people to download the app? What was the hook that you used? You're saying that this became this massive kind of big product with different entities inside of it. But what was your call to action towards your consumers to download the app?
So In 2023, we did a massive customer insight survey. So we asked seven completely open-ended questions. So no drop downs, no multiple choice. We just gave people seven text fields and asked them seven questions. And we had 4,000 responses, so 28,000 pieces of text to read through, which took us about 6 months to get through. And that effectively built our development roadmap for the last 3 years. And we have just got to the point where rewards and loyalty was one of the requests. You know, we have customers that spend thousands of pounds with us every year. They wanted to be rewarded in some way. So I thought that was the hook really to get them onto the app. So the rewards program is only currently accessible via the app, but as a brand and as an omni-channel brand, we didn't want to just encourage retail loyalty because, to be quite honest, we don't really care where our customers buy from us. So if they choose to buy on Amazon or through one of our wholesale partners or live at an event, that's completely fine. The most important thing is that they're loyal to the brand. So we wanted to introduce something that was not just commerce related. We wanted to give customers some value in between purchases. So what can we add to their experience and to their lives? And the community platform and the events calendar seemed like the really obvious way to deliver that. LeMieux is quite unique as a brand. It's almost cult like in the following. We have a very, very passionate audience because that's the nature of equestrianism, and we're the leading brand in that space. You know, if you own a horse, you're by definition extremely passionate about what you do because it's such a big commitment in terms of finance and time. So there's a huge following around the brand that's kind of happened organically, and it's largely in things like private Facebook groups. So we thought, why don't we, create a platform where all these people can come together and benefit in some way in their relationship with us, not just by spending more money with us. That what actually, funnily enough, was not the primary aim.
Interesting. When you say loyalty program, when generally people say loyalty program, usually what they mean is the monetary side of it, right? So like, some kind of bonus points or something that you can then redeem for a discount. Basically, this is like another version of a discount that the business provides, like to drive loyalty. But if I understand you correctly, then you were focusing mostly on the non-monetary side of the loyalty program.
Correct.
Can you tell me more about like what is the product experience like when it comes to this non-monetary side of the engagement with the app?
Sure. So we've largely gamified it. So of course you can earn. We don't call them points; we call them rosettes and coins. You can earn more of those by spending money, but you can also earn more by contributing to the community, and particularly making high quality contributions to the community. So if you engage, talk to other people, you learn points. But if you produce really good content, you'll be rewarded additional points for that content. And the whole program is based around exclusivity and value add rather than discounting. So there is no discounting. It's not a traditional earn and burn style system. What you get is access to things which you would otherwise not be able to access. So you get a premium customer experience, you get faster dispatch on your order, you get a dedicated customer support contact if you get high enough in the tiers, you get early access to product releases. There's lots of things like that where it's not necessarily monetary, but it just makes the customer feel special and gives them something that they just can't get anywhere else.
Wow. Okay. This is really interesting. And then, in terms of like discounts or like monetary side of it, so if they earn points, they can move up the tiers, but it doesn't mean that they will get some kind of discount or anything. So it's just not
Correct.
part of the
There's
product.
no discounting. It's not part of it. What you can do is earn coins, and then you can redeem those coins for rewards, which are typically limited edition product or product that's not available to buy somewhere else. Uh, and that's something that we're going to ramp up more and more and more. So there's a real sort of level of exclusivity, and it's not necessarily um, product that's any different from what we sell on the website. It's just unique. So it'll be a unique colorway, or it'll be like a phone case that you can't buy. You can only get if you're in the club, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. I think that kind of resonates with, like fashion brands like Keith or some other brands that will do like exclusive drops that you can only earn access to if you're part of it. And that's interesting. And but usually when something like this is created, I bet that you were putting some kind of KPIs in front of yourself, like what are you trying to achieve with it? What would that look like in a year or so, in terms of like what are you trying to achieve as key performance indicators for the app?
So, I mean, in really simple terms, we had a download target. I probably can't disclose what that is, but what I can say is that we are 40% of the way to that target for the whole year in the first 2 weeks. So we're
Wow! So in the first
extremely
two
happy with
weeks,
how it's
you
gone.
kind of like almost earned the full year one, or you did.
Exactly, exactly.
Wow.
So our target was to get a quarter of our database using the app in the first year, and we've achieved 40% of that in the first 2 weeks. So
How
we're extremely happy.
what did the communication look like? I mean, in terms of getting the app out there and getting people to download it and start using it. I mean, like, what tools have you used to kick it off?
We've heavily leveraged influencers. So there's a handful of really key, really important influencers in our space who are very influential. We've leveraged those. We've also done Q and A's with some athletes and influencers, which are only available within the community. So if you want to ask questions, your favorite rider or favorite influencer, this is the only place you can go and do that, and then they directly respond within the platform via um, bespoke video. And then we just pushed it out through social, through emails, and all our other channels. And you get the typical pop up when you visit our website. Why not download the app, etc. And there's a few other activations. So we're doing a partnership with a federation in the US, and there's a couple of other hooks like that. But largely, it's been via social and through influencers and just kind of typical ads.
Interesting. So that also might mean that you acquired a lot of new consumers this way, right? So if because this is
We
kind of a
did.
cold outreach, right?
That's been probably the most exciting bit is that almost 40% of the signups have been new consumers. So not
Wow.
maybe they aren't new to the brand, but they're certainly new to us directly, and that has led to a really significant incremental revenue lift almost immediately. So we did an app only early access for our Black Friday promotions on Wednesday, and we absolutely smashed our previous records for early access. We then did a website early access today, and what we're seeing is that actually most of the revenue from the app early access was incremental because we're still going to beat our top record for early access today for website early access as well. So yeah, things are going about as well as they could. I'm touching some wood here because I'm just waiting for something to blow up or go wrong.
Now, if it already took the right route, I think that you're really spot on with this one because I also experienced how a mobile app for the retail can really blow the sales up and really bring the incremental audience. I want to ask you this: like comparing customer acquisition cost in the for the website versus for the mobile app. Do you already have some insights that you can share into how they are different?
So, in terms of total cost of acquisition based on the number of new customers we have, the app has already paid for itself at a CPA
Wow.
of £10 a customer. So we're extremely happy with that, which is significantly lower than our typical new customer acquisition cost. So it's difficult to say at the moment because obviously we're in the kind of anniversary, we're in the honeymoon stage, sorry, where there's a big influx of people. I think I'm going to need another 3 or 4 months to answer that question, but it's extremely efficient at the moment.
Nice, nice. Okay, cool. But tell me maybe a little bit more about how are you planning to keep people in the app? Because okay, so the first initial stage of just kicking it off and giving people this new shiny object, and especially if they're passionate inside of this industry and inside of this hobby, it makes a lot of sense. But then you know how it is. Like, I mean, like anybody who are watching or listening us, I'm sure that you have lots of the pages you to scroll through when you open your phone on different apps. And how are you planning to make sure that your app sticks? You know that people will stick around in the app.
So we're just planning to add more and more features. The community is already a great hook because those that are also active on the community are obviously in the community page because it's effectively like a social media channel, right? So they're opening the app like 40, 50 times a day. Whether that sustains as the novelty wears off, we will wait and see. But the engagement and retention, according to the App Store analytics are incredibly high right now. So we think the community itself will keep people engaged, but we're just going to add more and more functionality as we move forward. One that we're looking at in Q1 of next year is a virtual try-on module, which is something that's really well suited to an app. So effectively, a customer can take a picture of themselves or take a picture of their horse, upload it into the app, and then try product on themselves or their horse. And you know, Google's Gemini 3 models are so sophisticated now that they're actually capable of delivering that at a pretty high level. Like if I showed you a couple of our demo images, you wouldn't guess that it was AI generated.
Oh yeah, I believe you 100% because I've seen like one of the examples that I really love from the recent ones is how Gemini can turn photos into videos. So you're taking your average
Yeah,
photo shoot and it instantly turns it into a video, and it's super hard to tell. There are of course some the ones that where you can actually see that the image is glitching a little bit or something like this, but in general this is so amazing how the content generation is really turned. Okay.
exactly. And I mean,
Yeah.
what you've got to consider as well is this is the worst that the models are ever going to be. You know,
Oh
they're
yeah.
only going to get progressively better from here. So, I mean, they're already pretty good to my eye. So, where we're going to be in a year or two's time, it's super exciting.
Yeah, exactly. If we can make a video from a photo shoot, then what stops us from making one photo shoot and then turning it into different sets of locations and then just walking away from the photo shoots in general? I think that a lot of brands are already doing this and trying to do this just with the AI influencers. Interesting. But also about the community aspect of it, because I also spent some time knocking my head on this idea of building a community for a brand I was working for. But we were thinking about how do we keep people engaged, because if people are not that much engaged inside of the community, I mean, if they're not creating new topics, if they're not sharing new images or new posts or something like this, how can you add more fuel into the fire, so to speak? We were thinking about influencers. I remember back in the day, just adding them on the platform. Like, what's your take on this one?
So that's what we've done. That's been one of our launch strategy, and three of our most popular topics at the moment are influencer topics, where they're just in there, just asking general questions. You know, it's nothing groundbreaking, but they're unbelievably popular. People are very excited to engage with these influencers and athletes and riders. And we've also just been reasonably smart in seeder content. So just asking a question like, you know, what products are you going to buy next, or give us some stable and yard hacks, or, just kind of basic day to day questions. The thing with equestrianism is because people are so dedicated to it and it's actually quite complex and specialist, they're very incentivized to share their knowledge or to flex their knowledge. And you can ask 10 equestrians the same question and get 10 different answers, and none of them will be wrong. It's just there's a lot of nuance in the sport and in the pastime. So debate is a massive part of the sport. So we're probably slightly unique in that respect. If you're selling, some dull commoditized product, it might be slightly more difficult to get the engagement in your platform. But largely, we haven't had that problem yet.
Nice, nice. I love it. I mean, like, just imagining how all of the competition in any basically industry, in any product, any brand thinks about how to keep themselves top of mind for the consumers, how to make sure that when next time they're looking for the product like this, your brand will come up in their mind. And creating a community and having it in the app that people always have with them in their phone, and having this
Yeah.
direct access with a push notification is just is a cheat code. It's basically an unfair advantage. That's so
That's
cool.
that's the whole kind of strategy behind it. And then you've got to think about what can we do next. So like we
Hmm.
can look at kind of services. So there's some very popular apps out there for training and guides. There's some very popular apps out there for kind of horse management because it's, you got to muck out in the morning, you got to go and feed them at a certain time of day. So having reminders and a schedule for that is an also really useful feature. And then the other one is hack trails. There are apps out there with tens of thousands of downloads, which, if you're into walking and stuff, you probably use Old Trails, but there are equestrian versions of those. And where we can win versus those guys is we don't have to charge our customers because we don't need to monetize these services because them just being in the app and engaging with it will monetize itself, so to speak. So we can just continually add more and more services and more features, and just draw people to spend more and more time engaging with our brand and using our app.
Nice. And looking ahead, what kind of future for the app in the overall business do you project in terms of, like, I don't know, 3, 5 years?
Well, it's difficult to estimate at the moment because obviously we're in the honeymoon phase and we've also just had Black Friday early access, but we've immediately hit like 25% of our total e-commerce revenue. So it's
Wow.
going to be interesting to see how that pans out next year because, we do have the most engaged people in there, so it will disproportionately kind of, favor the app revenue. So we'll have to see when that pans out. But I mean, my target was like kind of 10 or 15%. So we've already flown way beyond that. And I think as it absorbs more and more of our revenue, the budget that I'll have to play with in terms of adding features and making it more fun and exciting for people would just increase as it goes. So it's difficult to say because we're only 2 weeks in, but I think it's going to be a really significant and key part of our business moving forward. I think it's maybe not going to be our main channel, but certainly like it's going to be a key consideration. We're going to be talking about it in the boardroom, put it that way.
Nice, nice. And I can imagine that this quarter of sales also comes with some incremental sales, as we spoke before about the newcomers and the new known
Yeah,
consumers, right? That's
yeah,
cool. That's
absolutely.
really
We've
cool.
already seen that. So yeah.
Nice, nice. What would be your advice for, brands who are thinking and hesitating about starting a mobile app? Where should they start planning for something like this?
So for me, it's what's the hook? Because if all you're going to do is boil down your mobile website and wrap it up in an app, like what's the advantage for the consumer? I know there are advantages for you as a business in that because you get access to push notifications, etc. But like, what's in it for the consumer? What's going to get them on the platform? What's going to make them adopt it? What is that hook? You need to figure that out. If you want to have the success that we've had, you need to figure that out as a starting point, because the store side of it, not to undersell it, but the store side of it's relatively easy. It's the hook and the adoption which is the really difficult bit.
Nice, nice. Shaun, I really want to thank you for spending this half an hour with us and telling about your business and about the mobile app. I'm very much sure that you have super bright business future ahead of this venture, and we will be thrilled to keep our audience posted about how it develops and to have you maybe in half a year or a year to give some kind of updates on the features and everything that you're building there. Super exciting. Thank you again.
Absolutely, Philip would love to. So keep in touch.
Keep in touch. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.